I met a Gypsy.
Me clean. Like, yeah, we did cat and mouse, but it was never anything like dirty. You know, he was just protecting the spot. So I respected that. You know, I think he's a good kid, and we were able to chat it up after the race, and you know, just kind of sit there and bullshit, which was cool because that's my first time I actually ever even got to talk to Jet at all, other than just being like, good luck, you know. So that was actually a pretty cool moment for us. But yeah, that was definitely a time where it could have went the other direction, and you get pissed and you blow up and you make this big ordeal. But for me, I was like, okay, like, is that the smartest thing to do? Probably not. You know, like, let's take a second, relax, and then we can be fine. You know, we'll move forward. So I just couldn't help but be a little mad at myself. I felt like I threw that one away. So I didn't have time to be pissed at Jet. I was just more just like, damn, I should have won that race. You know, I was in the lead. So that's kind of how that went. But yeah, that was a defining moment, I think, a little bit in the series for me too, for sure.
Yeah, and they're the moments that win championships too. Like, there's not, you know, it doesn't have to be on the racetrack during those, you know, 15 minutes or whatever for the main event that count towards a championship. Dude, it's those moments too, man. It's the interactions in the pits. It's the you know, the vibe at track walk. Like, there's so much shit that goes into winning these championships. And like, we kind of got to see, I don't know whether people maybe overlooked it or if people noticed it, but yeah, like, to me, that looked like a huge moment in the championship where I was like, this could have easily gone the other way. And man, I think that whole, like, the bullshit with Mosiman and Jet, that was huge in Jet's championship, I think. Like, I really think that, like, the bullshit that he got involved with Mosiman early, I mean, the one thing when I lived over there and I was just a fan, that before I'd sort of done the tour and gone to all the races, like, I just didn't understand how important every single time you were on the track was, whether it was track walk, first practice, dude, everything counts. And you can see it with privateers, like at the top level, like with you boys, it's not as obvious to see, right? But in our position with, like, JDR, right, we had it was at LA, I think it was the round where Trey got hurt. But Ryan Marmont was riding for JDR, and he was doing, like, a few rounds over there as a part of, like, the West Coast deal. And he, like, something happened, and he got kind of lucky in quali. And then he got a real good gate pick. And then he hole-shotted the heat. And then he, like, got past and got 5th or something in the heat. And then he hole-shotted the main. And it was just like, if he didn't get lucky in practice to get that gate pick, to then get that hole shot, to then get passed by only 5 dudes in the heat, to then you know what I mean? Like, it's set up so far. In a good night in Supercross is set up the moment you walk the track, essentially. And it just seems like, that moment with you and Jet was one of those moments where it was like an off-track experience that actually added value to you winning that championship.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it did. But I mean, going back to what you were saying, it's just like, it's one of those things where it's the confidence thing, just like we were talking earlier, but also too, it's like the management of things, and you got to put yourself in a spot to almost get lucky. You know, like, you can't have this beef with this guy and go out there and practice, and you're so worried about just fucking with this other guy that you can't even go do your thing. Like, you have to put yourself in a spot where you can be straight, go out there and handle your business, do it the best way that you can possibly do it, and then go home, you know? So for me, whenever I saw all that early, the first thing I could think of was, I was like, dude, I have to stay away from all that. Like, somehow, I don't know how, but I did a really good job this year of making sure I wasn't in that spot, you know, to have that beef with somebody, or to also try to be head to head with somebody. Like, I was head to head with Christian, and maybe if we were on different teams, it would have been different. But for us, we weren't going to do anything crazy to each other. Like, in practice, we weren't sitting there, like, fucking with each other, like, whatever, you know? So it was fine. But yeah, I mean, that plays a big role, dude. I mean, obviously, like, Mosiman put Jet on the ground, you know, Jet put Mosiman on the ground. Like, that's huge, you know, like, that's spots. That's a bad gate pick in a heat, which leads to a horrible start in the main, and, you know, it just snowballs. So it can go that way, or it can go the other way.
And it's like rent in your head too, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, it goes off all the time. If you have somebody that you have this thing with, you're wondering if that's them behind you, you know? So you're, like, not focused forward. You're looking at that, just being like, man, I got to look over my shoulder. So, yeah, it's one of those things that it's tough, and to avoid that is damn near impossible. But if you can kind of get away from it and still try to, like, stay in your own lane, which is luckily I was able to do that this year, it makes a big difference.
What were you and Jet talking about there? That's cool that was your first time ever really talking.
Yeah, it honestly really was, just because, like, I don't know, it's our sport's weird, dude. Like, dudes don't just like hang out and talk all the time, which I think is kind of weird. And I'm a pretty open book. Like, dude, if you have something to talk to me about, come talk to me. I don't really care. Like, I'll talk to you about anything, you know. I feel like I'm fairly easy to talk to. I get along with a lot of people, and it's fine. But so many dudes in this sport feel like they're like losing an edge if they talk to your competitor or like whatever, you know, which I think is retarded. Like, when we put the helmets on, let's go. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. But for me, it's just different. And, you know, Jet's such a young kid. He's trying to, you know, figure all this sport out and how everything works. And I'd actually never raced him before this year, because I was hurt the whole year before. So when we were sitting down, I was just like, yo, like, dude, you're killing it. Like, it's been fun to watch, honestly, as a fan. Like, dude, you're so young. You got so much skill. Like, you know, just keep your head right, do your thing. Like, you're going to have a bright future, honestly. And that was the only really words of advice I could give the kid, because obviously he's kind of crushing it. But it was honestly cool just to sit and chat, you know, like see his personality, see how he is. You know, we're talking about just random shit, his little injury he had at the time with his shoulder, and talking about the track and just all this stuff, you know. So it was kind of cool to sit and do that for just a second. And then at Salt Lake, actually, in the tunnel before we went out for maybe the night show or practice, I don't remember what it was, but same thing. He kind of was behind me, and I'm just sitting there kind of chatting him up. I'm like, dude, when you come to California, like, let's golf or something, you know, let's get together and go have some fun, or, you know, do whatever. And not a whole lot of guys really do that, you know, with, I guess, I don't want to call it a rivalry, but competitors. And I just think that's kind of silly. You know, I'm just like, well, I mean, I'm out here by myself, you know. It's like I have a bunch of family, or, you know, really a bunch of close friends. I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, let's go play golf and enjoy ourselves, and you know, get to know people a little better. A lot of people don't really do that in this sport. So no, it was cool, man. He's a good kid, and honestly, he's got such a good personality. He's fun to be around and stuff too. So I mean, I was like, why not? I feel like we'd hit it off and have a good time, to be honest with you. So that was kind of all we talked about, really.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com. packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.